a big hand for Frank and Trudy. All right, next up we have a duo by our very own Seth Bostad.
All right. I like that Frank has not one concept but like 6 in his piece. But it's not this. Yeah, 5 and 7, exactly. 5 and 7 concepts simultaneously. The left brain and the right brain, which is pretty cool. What about my piece? What is it? Oh yeah, okay, so it's for cello and piano. It's called White Space, which in paintings or any kind of visual layout, or even in text, in the design world, is negative space. The space is not actually full of anything. And most painters and visual people consider this to be very important, because if it's too cluttered, it doesn't work. Needless to say, in music, it's very important as well, and silence, I think, in many ways shapes the piece. So when I wrote White Space, it's a pretty short piece for cello and piano. It wasn't like this attempt to use artful silence necessarily, but it was an attempt to kind of think about the things that aren't in the music and how important they are, and even maybe more important than things that are there. So, and that sounds like composer doublespeak, but I don't care. me another big hand. Okay, next up is a work in progress, I believe, correct? Yes, True Concept Lab piece by Lil Rowe. Will, come on up.
All right. It's gonna be a fun one. This is a piece that, yeah, like Seth said, still in progress. The premiere is gonna happen in late September down in Evansville, Indiana. Writing the piece for, yeah?
There's always one.
Excellent. Yes, it's being written for my friends Mark Halstead and Leanne Hampton. Yeah, I've got 2 movements in deep out of 4, and yeah, as Seth mentioned, in the concept lab form of productive failure, we are going to learn a few things today. They have been rehearsing a little bit, which I have not been a part of. I heard what they've been working on for the first time about an hour ago in sound check. But they've been communicating some things to me, and before we get started, we're going to talk about a few of these things. So, string player, a lot of my issues are writing, for winds, and as such, I decided this time to go in the opposite direction of playing it safe, playing conservative, and writing something I know will work. And instead of going all in on, just trying a bunch of stuff where I don't know if it's going to be physically possible or not. And as it happens, there's a few of those things happening in this piece so far. So in this first movement, it is an open movement, open timing, and one of the things is that I left the notation very ambiguous so as to give the performers a lot of agency in deciding how the phrasing works, and I like that across any 2 performances of this piece, it isn't going to have the same pacing. It's going to be entirely up to what the performers are doing. But within this, the 2 kind of main textures are that there are a lot of still wobbly notes. A lot of trills, a lot of timbral trills going on, and the second thing is that there are a lot of glissandos kind of smearing everything together. However, in the flute part, I tried to do both of these things together, and that doesn't quite happen. Do you mind sharing a little bit why not?
I think some of the timbral trills work really well. It just depends, like, you gotta play 2 different fingers on the same note. And there's just some notes that I haven't been able to find, like an alternate fingering. Maybe I will. So I can demonstrate one that works, really like a T-sharp, all the stuff that works, and then there's a G on the stuff that I can't seem to. So I've been doing like a wide wobbly vibrato just to kind of change a little bit.
Cool.
So nothing else. That doesn't really on that sheet.
Yeah, that works just fine. Great. So in making some of these choices between these wobbly sustains and the glissandos, which side are you erring more on?
I mean, I think if you could do an alternate fingering on the note, I mean, that is a really, really cool effect. So that works. And then just this tiny one note, I don't think from G, I was able to find that. So.
Well, great. Thanks for that bit of insight. Yeah, I look forward to speaking a little more, revising some things for the next performance. And the other movement, there are a couple of things, but I think we're just going to present that as a little sneak preview here. So, without further ado, this is the inner movements of New Work Paused.
Will, those are the outer movements or the inner movements?
Inner movements.
Okay. If you want to go to the outer movements, you have to come to the next concept lab.
Or go to Abbeville. It's,
Yeah, we're chartering a bus in September. It's so fun.
Alright, so we actually have a slight change to the program. We decided to flip the last two pieces here. So right now we're going to have some excerpts from the Ryan Chase work. Unfortunately, Ryan could not be here tonight, but he went as far into the ideal of Concept Lab like I did in trying out a bunch of stuff, and for that reason we have some excerpts. And while everybody gets set up, Miles is going to talk a little bit about what's going on in here.
Thank you, Will. Alright, so while everybody gets set up, since Ryan's not here, I'll do my best to explain what's going on, though it's coming from me, it's not as good as coming from the composer, so I'll do my best. It's a really cool piece, and definitely in the spirit of Concept Lab. Kind of, if you think about what we've heard, in the first piece, the instruments were used in a relatively traditional way with some extended techniques. In the last piece that you just heard, there's quite a lot of extended techniques. And in this piece, all of the instruments are going to be played in a relatively non-traditional way. The flute will use tongue rams, tongue pizzicato, all sorts of interesting effects, and I don't believe it actually plays a note, a traditional musical note going through the flute. The violin similarly does kind of, I don't know how you call that effect, it's like a glissando, but then kind of...
Ricochet bowing.
What's that?
Ricochet.
Ricochet bowing. Ricochet bowing. The piano is the instrument used most conventionally, but very short chords, very muted, and to kind of complement the extended techniques that you're going to hear in the flute and in the violin. So what we'll present for you is the first section of this piece. It's kind of in, I would say, in 3 sections. And you'll hear the first section, and it's a kind of a good encapsulation of the whole thing. It kind of goes in this kind of arch of picking up the textures, playing with these very kind of soft, muted sounds. And so we hope you enjoy this piece, while Rome Burns by Ryan Chase.